Hey, what's going on guys? I'm Derek, and in this video I'll be going through some of the common questions and things that students might think about before embarking on an internship, as well as what are some of the considerations that you might have before you embark on one. And if you're currently in one, what are some of the things that you should do or you should actively look out for in order to excel in it. So for the first question that most people would have is, should I even go for an internship and why? So I think that the answer is definitely a yes. Personally, I think that everyone should do and try and experience out at least minimally one. And if you could, I think you should try at least 3 different companies before you go out to work full-time after you graduate. I think it's definitely for good reasons, of course. By engaging from 2 to 3 internships, you get a lot of exposure from there. By engaging in at least 2 to 3 internships, firstly, you get a lot of clarity in terms of what you want in the future. Honestly, even with 2 or 3 internships, some may not even figure out what they want to do. And there are people who still do not know what they want to do even after exploring around. If you were to start your discovery phase when you start working full-time, I think it will be a lot more challenging to discover what you really want to do in the future, because by then there will be so much commitments and so many things going on at the same time that causes you to be unable to take on significant risk. Second, it will be about getting more experience than others. This is so that you will stand a higher chance when you're competing with your peers outside, especially against those with an empty resume when they are just out there searching for a job. I think it is extremely natural to say that employers prefer to have people with some form of experience rather than a blank piece of paper. So you might want to take that into consideration when you're deciding whether or not you should do an internship while you're studying. So moving on to the second question, then it will be, how do I then get an internship? So there isn't really any hard and fast rule on this, but my personal recommendation is you just try. Mass apply or just shoot your shot. Try to make as many applications as you can in the field that you have some form of interest in, and try not to be too picky about things, because there really isn't any guarantee that you will even land any in the first place. So just shoot your shot, just try your best to apply to all those things that interest you. And anyways, if you really got something that you don't really want, what you can do is you can still turn them down and just reject the offer if you really got the offer at the end of the day. Although it might not be the best and most ideal scenario, but you should just try and see what you end up with. And I'll totally recommend for you to go and try, because in that process you'll be going through multiple rounds of interviews, and each interview you will learn something about yourself that you might not be as good at, and then in the process you will make multiple improvements along the way that will actually help you become better and better at your interview skills, and eventually when you meet the right one, you'll be able to shine perfectly for it. Because it's only after multiple tries that's where you review and reflect on what went wrong and what went well, then you bring the good factors across with you and leave the bad ones behind. And if you were to go by this process, you would definitely land yourself a first internship no matter what. Going on to the third question, and this will be how to get my first internship with nothing on my resume. So it's pretty similar to the question before, but with a bit more in-depth to this. So I think it's quite simple and straightforward. The key thing that employers look out for, I would say personally, would be work experience over the kind of grades that you have. You can be the smartest and the best student in school, but if you don't have the relevant work experience, you will definitely lose out to someone who has. Let's assume that I have nothing on my resume, and what I would do in this case. So there are a lot of things that I can actually actively do while I'm in school. One of it would definitely be joining case competitions that's related to the field that I'm interested in. So let's say, for example, in marketing. If I'm interested in marketing, I'll definitely be on the lookout for marketing related case competitions, joining them, getting some form of exposure, meeting like-minded people, making the connections with the companies. Also, if I were to emerge top 3 in the competition, it really would stand out and it would definitely help you one way or another. Another thing that I would do in this case is to go be on the lookout for online courses. There's a lot of YouTube videos, there's a lot of different courses on Udemy to help teach you and get your skills up to the next level. And beyond that, what I would also do is to find like-minded people around me in school or outside. I would also look out for entrepreneurs and people who are starting something new. So I'll offer my knowledge and services to them for free in return for a testimonial or a recommendation in that case. So basically, I will have something that I can add to my portfolio, which will help to make up for the lack of work experience. And then using this experience, I can even go online and offer relevant services on freelancing platforms such as Fiverr. And this will definitely help me to improve my skill set along the way as I grow. And no matter what, if you keep to this process, you will definitely end up with your first internship and your first full-time job. And even so, I think as you offer your services out to people by freelancing, this could even become a substantial amount of your income along the way, even while you're studying. Going on to the fourth question, it will be, how many internships should I have? So I would say there isn't really any kind of numbers to this that I can put forth, but I would say aim to to have 3 in the relevant field that you are interested in. So 3 would be a good number because it gives you quite a bit of breadth as well as the in-depth knowledge into the specific field that you're in, and also you have enough exposure to know whether or not this is something that you really want to do. And having 3 will give you the sweet spot in terms of the exposure to the companies that are available, their working culture in this industry, and the type of job scopes that are available across the different firms. And I would say you should also aim for exposure at different levels, meaning from startups to SMEs as well as to the big MNCs. For MNCs, I think you should aim for global organizations that can really show you a different side of how people work with each other across the globe. And I think that the culture of global firms are very different from that of a local firm, so definitely having the experience on both sides will help you gain a different perspective. Going on to the 5th question is, how do I do well for my internship and what to look out for? So I think one most important thing that you can do in this case is to have frequent conversations and check-ins with your manager, and be specific and explicit in terms of your ask, asking them what are some of the key goals and metrics that they are using to assess your performance, and constantly reach out to them for feedbacks in terms of what you're doing, how well are you doing, what can you improve on, what more can you do, and always try to ask with the intention of having a conversion at the end of the day, as this will help you to be even more aligned with the team that you're supporting and what is the main goal of the company. And by being aligned with them, and that will help you to have a more meaningful internship nonetheless. So I would recommend to have weekly check-ins with your manager as well as some of the other senior members in your team. Catch up with your team members and then try to get to know them better, to know more about their job scope, how is their day-to-day like, learn more about them and be a friend. So, and you should really focus on building meaningful relationships because you will never know what will happen in the future. Always listen to what they have to say about your performance, be it good or bad. If it's good, then keep it up, improve on it. If it's bad, then work on those mistakes that you have made and try to not commit them again. Always try to be proactive and take some initiative in terms of the projects that you could help out with, or take on new projects, make new suggestions, but be the one that provides them with a fresh perspective. So the number 6 question would be how to stand out in your internship and how to make it even more meaningful. So to stand out in your internship, I would say by having that initial conversation with your manager, setting goals for yourself, something that you and your manager are aligned with. Subsequently, send out weekly, bi-weekly, monthly learnings and reflections that you have to your entire team so that they are aware of what you have been doing and without really having to check in with you one-to-one personally every single time. These kind of updates keep them in the loop in terms of what you're working on, as no one will really try to nitpick on you and see what are you doing on a day-to-day basis. No one will really do that. You need to be the one that is proactive and reach out to them and inform them and let them know, let them be aware of what you're up to and what are the things that you're struggling with, what are the challenges that you face, and how can they support you as well. So arranging for one-to-one meetings with your team, I think that's extremely essential as mentioned previously. This will help you learn more about them and learn more about what does success mean to them, because if you're aligned with them on what success means, then that's where you guys can really gel a lot better. And if you have the opportunity to present and make a presentation to a wider team or even the senior leaders in the company, that's the best. Be as well prepared as you can and be prepared for the kind of commonly asked questions that people might ask after your presentation. Do a couple rounds of rehearsal to make sure you are very familiar with the content that you're preparing and that you're presenting. Try to get someone to listen out to you and see whether or not they understand what you're talking about. This will allow you to be a lot more prepared for the presentation, and that's what will help you shine in that. So the final question will be how to decide what field we want to enter into when we don't even know what we want to do. So there's so many different industries like tech, there's finance, there's so many out there. What and how do we decide? And what I would recommend is to shortlist some of these industries that you are interested in. So have the top 3 and then have the backup 3. So 6 in total. And also shortlist some of the values and criteria that you have for your full-time role. So and prioritize those criteria. So for example, what you should not do is to say stuff like, oh, I just want to make a lot of money, because it is too vague for it to be a criteria. You should be a lot more specific than that. So instead of saying things like you want to have a lot of money, you should say something like I want a job that can give me a $6,000 salary a month, so that there will be a specific amount, that intangible amount that you can put. Or another example could be I want to have a lot of free time. Or another example is I want to have a good form of work-life balance whereby I don't have on my desk all the time and my team is understanding of that. It could also go along the lines of I don't have to work on the weekends or I don't have to OT every single night. So you need to have some kind of qualities and requirements that you can qualify and set, and it must be tangible. And then you should also go around asking people from your career advisors to your peers and all the people who are in the industry itself to learn more from them directly. But of course, some people would be focused on the short-term gains and forego their long-term goals. So just be truthful to yourself when you're setting those requirements and be realistic about it. Don't be misled by your environment to think and make you think otherwise. Just because your friends are going for something doesn't mean you should do the same thing as well. So that's about it for this video. I hope that it has helped you so far. If you like what you're seeing, do drop this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and comment down below what are some of the other questions that you might have with regards to internships related things. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.